କେମିତି ଶିଖଉଛ ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ କାମ ଶିଖଉଛ ମୁଁ କରୁଛି କିଛି କଥା ମୁଁ କରୁଛି ଗୁଡ଼ାଏ କାମ ସେଟା କଣ ଦରକାର ଠିକ ଅଛି କିଛି ନାହିଁ ସିଧା ଆମର ଡାଇରେକ୍ଟ Good morning. Let's start today's current affairs discussion. So the first topic, that is regarding what did India's first national water body census find. So what was census? Very unique one. Water body census of India. How many water bodies? Okay. Because water body are very old and they are civilizationally linked in India. Civilizationally linked. And right now, because the water scarcity is looming large, so government has started taking a census of the water body. So its conservation can be expedited. Okay. So India is facing a water crisis with groundwater decline and biodiversity loss and climate change increasing the frequency of flood and drought. In this context, water bodies are important. They buffer against climate variability, holding flood waters for use in dry periods. They contributed to food and water security and livelihood by recharging groundwater and providing water for irrigation and livestock. They also have cultural and ecological significance, but water bodies are increasingly under threat from pollution, encroachment, urbanization, and drying. What is the threat? Threat from pollution. Most of the water bodies, which you might have seen in your locality, are polluted, and when they are encroached, there is urbanization which is affecting the water bodies. Like for example, Bhubaneswar, all the major water bodies of the city, capital city, are completely eroded and drying. Okay, because of lack of recharging. If they are to be conserved and managed effectively, we need action plan, and these require baseline data. If we want to preserve the water body, we must have baseline data of the water body, so we can take steps to conserve them or preserve them. Okay. So, if they are to be conserved and managed effectively, we need action plan, and this requires baseline data because water body are managed by different agencies from state to local to private entities. The data must be uniform and easily accessible. To actually manage water bodies, we need contextual and traditional knowledge of communities to be integrated with formal data because water body are owned by the state government by the local government and by the private entities. Okay, okay, and unless we don't have a clear cut data, it's very difficult to manage them. Data reservoirs and rivers have been available on the Indian Water Resource Information System for the last few years, but thus far there has been no data on smaller water bodies that are the lifeline of rural India and critical culture, flood control, and recreational space in cities. On the water body of the lifeline, yet so there is no sufficient that insufficient data. Okay, that is why so a clear cut information is required in this context. Data on reservoir and river has been available on the Indian Water Resource Information System for the last few years, but thus far there has been no data on smaller water bodies that are the lifeline of rural India and critical cultural flood control and recreational space in cities. How are the census conducted? The massive effort expanded in the first ever water body census conducted by the Ministry of Jal Shakti and whose findings were published recently much needed. The census objective was to develop a national database with information on the size, purpose, ownership, status, and conditions of water bodies. It covered all natural and human-made units bonded on all sites for storing water, irrespective of the conditions or use. The software for data entry and the mobile app for capturing the locations and the visual of the water bodies were developed, and data processing workshops were conducted to train the trainers in all states and union territories. The census built an existing and publicly available satellite derived database. This data set was also extremely rich, allowing citizens to hone in on a specific village and download the historical time series data on each water body, but it only includes attributes that can be observed from space. The water body census extends this to social characteristics, include ownership, use, and condition. What does the data show? One value of such a large national effort is that it allows us to compare spatial and temporal trend across the country. Most water bodies in the country are very small. The vast majority of India's water body are less than 1 hectare large. This means locating and keeping track of them is likely to remain a challenge because the small size. The traditional way to map these water bodies using satellites may not work, which is why the mammoth effort expanded in ground-based tracking is very welcome. The water body shows. Okay, so the water body show regional pattern that correlates with rainfall. In general, in rare states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Rajasthan, water body tend to be larger and publicly held. Large water body publicly held. In the wetter parts of the country like Kerala, West Bengal, the state in the northeast, more than three-quarter of these water body are privately owned. In drier states, the water body are primarily used for irrigation and groundwater recharge. In wet states, domestic use and pisciculture dominate. Mid-sized water body are largely panchayat owned. So, so in the drier states like Rajasthan, Gujarat, okay, so they are owned by the public. So they are used for groundwater recharging and common use. But in the wetter states where rainfall is plenty and okay, so they are small in size and they are used for pisciculture and for personal use. Then very rarely they are used for irrigation purpose. Why? Because irrigation from the pond is not that attractive in the wettier states. Okay, most water bodies have never been repaired or rejuvenated. Several water bodies were classified not in use, meaning despite the recent interest in rejuvenating water bodies, most of them have never been repaired or revived. How can the census improve? First, there are some clear gaps. Water bodies have an important role in supporting biodiversity. They harbor fish that birds feed on and provide roosting and breeding space for resident and migratory birds. These ecological functions are related to the size and location of the water bodies, but the water body census does not address questions about this. The report itself noted in its preamble that water bodies support healthy ecosystem, yet the focus was exclusively on human use, which means only pisciculture or fish farming, which is shaded and does not reflect natural biodiversity, is featured. In classifying water bodies in terms of regions of abandonment or disuse, others emerge as a significant region on par with drying off in few states, but far ahead of other specific categories such as industrial pollution, construction, and salinity. One possibility is that the census questionnaires may have left out the most common reason for eutrophication. That means so that eutrophication process where the natural stream is made useless. Okay. So sewage pollution and solid waste dumping in the water bodies. They have emerged as dump pads in the locality. Okay, most of the old ancient water bodies have emerged as modern dump pads. So the wastes are dumped over there, and that further aggravate the situation. Second, there are inconsistencies. The census group water bodies into five types: pond, tank, lake, reservoirs, and water conservation schemes. It its glossary defines a pond as a smaller water body than a tank, while water conservation structure might include check dams and percolation tanks. However, these categories are not mutually exclusive. Many tanks that were traditionally used directly for irrigation primarily serve as recharge structure today. Based on the data, it appears that in Karnataka, these were classified as ponds and tanks serving the purpose of irrigation, whereas in Maharashtra, these were classified as water conservation structures primarily serving the purpose of groundwater recharge. The source of irrigation statistics for the two states suggest neither state has much tank irrigation. Third, the data are not standardized across states. Some states like Gujarat do not show any waste bodies not being in use, whereas Karnataka reports almost 80% of its water bodies as being in state of disuse. This suggests difference in interpretation by the enumerators. Okay. So third the data are not standardized across state. Some states like Gujarat do not show any water body not being in use, whereas Karnataka report almost 80% of its water body in use. Okay. There are some other concerns. For example, the map of North Karnataka seems suspiciously empty. See, the original geotag data does not seem to have. Okay. Notwithstanding these shortcomings, it is crucial that the government continues such nationwide census of a vital resources with modification. This first edition itself provides high-level indications on the way forward by dialing ownership, state of use, and the cost of construction and repair. It points to how and why water bodies must be restored, which agency capacities need to be strengthened, where and how much funds are needed, and who will benefit from such efforts. If such censuses are conducted every 5 to 10 years over time, they represent the pulse of the state of water in the country as a whole and trend over time. Okay, so this is a very noble initiative. You know that the Amrit Sarovar Yojana has also been launched by the government on the for rejuvenation of, okay, this water bodies on the 75 years of independence all over the country. So government plan to that rejuvenate 75 water bodies. Okay, and this scheme is another supplement. Okay, so definitely as the water crisis looming large over the population of the world, and this step by India, the most populous country, in conserving water will definitely have its own benefit in future. The next topic is a very sad news. The crash of this MiG-21 recently, killing of three civilians in the accident, and based on that, the discussion regarding the vintage MiG-21 and why the Indian Air Force continue to fly them. A MiG-21 of Russian origin, jet of the Indian Air Force, crashed recently near Rajasthan's Suratgarh while it was on a routine operational training sortie. The MiG-21 are among the first six fighter jets presently flown by the Indian Air Force, and for a long period of time has been the backbone of the Indian Air Force. The MiG-21 are single-engine, single-seater, multi-role fighter ground attack aircraft. While they were first inducted in 1963 as an interceptor aircraft, for the next few decades, they are upgraded to perform a variety of roles performed by a fighter aircraft, including ground attack. India has procured over 700 MiG-21 aircrafts of different variants since then, such as the Type 77, Type 96, and the VIS. The latest of such were the MiG-21 Vision, which is an upgraded aircraft with advanced missiles and radar and better avionics. Over 100 MiG-21 with the Indian Air Force have been upgraded to Vision since 2006. Okay, they all purchased them from Russia, the Russian origin. The aircraft in the past has proved their mettle in several wars fought by India. For instance, in the Bangladesh Liberation War 71, the MiG-21's Type 77 variant has played a major role in swaying the war result in India's favor. The combat jet was also among the mainstay of Indian Air Force in the 1965 war and the 1919 Kargil conflict with Pakistan. In 2019, Group Captain Abhinandan Vardhaman, then wing commander of the S2 Srinagar-based 51 Squadron, was flying the MiG-21 Vision when he downed an F-16 on a sophisticated fighter plane of Pakistan given by USA to Pakistan. F-16 is a very sophisticated fighter plane of America which was given to Pakistan, but this MiG-21 Vision, so flown by that Group Captain Abhinandan Vardhaman, so shut down it uh, while on regular combat route. Past MiG accidental causes, as per the government data, close to 500 MiG-21 have been crashed in the last 60 years, killing over 170 pilots. More than 20 aircrafts have crashed since 2010. In fact, in the very first year of its induction in 1963, two of the Soviet era aircraft have crashed. Okay. In July 2020, a trainer version of the fighter craft crashed, killing two pilots on board. And in 2021, there are five MiG-21 Vision crashes that killed three pilots. This is called the that killing machine of the Indian Air Force. The reason for this crash have been several, ranging from technical defects, human error, bad heat, or partial disorientation of pilots in certain circumstances. When are the aircraft getting phased out? There are three squadrons of the MiG-21 Vision aircrafts currently in service in the Air Force. Each squadron comprises 16 to 18 aircrafts, aside from one or two trainer versions. In September 2020, the decorated number 51 squadron was number plated. The three MiG-21 Vision squadrons are planned to be phased out by December 2025. Why does the Indian Air Force continue to fly this mega aircraft? Indian Air Force has a sanctioned squadron strength of 42, even as it currently squadron strength is around 30. Sanction is 42, but squadron strength is only 30. Phasing out of the fighter jet earlier would bring down the airport fighter squadron strength to dangerously low level, especially if they are replaced by the indigenous light combat aircraft Tejas squadron. Okay, and to this, there is interruption supply due to the present war between Russia and Ukraine that affected the steady supply of this aircraft and spare parts to India. According to official of the Indian Force, can the most reach 35 squadron by next decades, even after considering new fighter acquisitions and the planned phasing out of the existing squadrons of aging fighter jets. Senior Indian Air Force officials, particularly those who have flown the aircraft, have often said the aircraft did not have an abysmally safety record when compared to the number of flying hours and the year in service, and have no various and on various occasions highlighted the rigorous maintenance and check that every fighter aircraft undergoes before going on a sortie. But still, after this rigorous verification, still there is crash and killing of the pilots and at times civilians. And in this incident, so apart from the pilots who eject himself before the crash, so three civilians were killed. The next topic is Commission for Scientific and Technical Terminology. CSTT. The Commission for Scientific and Technical Terminology is creating a technical and scientific terminology in 10 Indian languages underrepresented in the learning landscape. About these 10 languages are Bodo, Santali, Dogri, Kashmiri, Konkani, Nepali, Manipuri, Sindhi, Mithili, and Sanskrit. These are a part of the list of 22 official languages of Indian 8 schedule. However, there is a paucity of study materials created in them, primarily because of a lack of words to describe scientific phenomena and technical terms. In this background, the CSTT will bring out fundamental with 500 words per language. Significance: the move assumes importance. The National Education Policy 2020 has espoused the use of regional languages as a medium of education in both school and colleges. The Commission for Scientific and Technical Terminology mandate its mandate is to evolve standard technical terminology in all Indian languages. It also publishes quarterly journals named Vigyan Garima Sindhu and Gyan Garima Sindhu. Background: it was established in 1961 by a presidential order issued under Article 344 of the Constitution of India. Article 344 deals with Commission and Committee of Parliament and Official Language. Governance: it functions under the Department of Higher Education, Minister of Education, Headquarters New Delhi. Function: preparation and publication of bilingual and trilingual glossaries involving English, Hindi, and other Indian languages. Preparation and publication of national terminology, identification and publications of school level terminology and departmental glossaries, identification of pan-India terms, preparation of definitional directories and encyclopedias, preparation of university level textbook, monographs and journals, granted to grant academics textbook board and university cell of university level book in regional languages, propagation, expansion and critical review of terms coined and defined through training, orientation program, workshop, seminars, etc. Free distribution of publications, providing necessary terminology to the National Translation Mission. In the process of evolution of scientific and technical terminology and reference material in Hindi and Indian languages, the Commission shall have collaborations of state government, universities, regional textbook board, and state grant academics. Okay, so this will be a new beginning in fulfilling the demand of the want of words in different local languages. Okay, so the next is about the non-communicable disease. The Minister of Health and Family Welfare has named NPDCCS program as NPNCD after addition of more non-communicable disease under it. The NPNCD, the Minister of Health and Family Welfare, has added more non-communicable diseases such as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, chronic kidney disease, to be to the National Program for Prevention and Control of Cancer, Diabetes, Cardiovascular Disease and Stroke. In this background, the ministry has decided to rename NPCDCS as National Program for Prevention and Control of Non-Communicable Diseases. The program has been implemented under the National Health Mission across the country. Under it, 677 NDC district level clinics, 187 district cardiac care units, 266 district daycare centers, and 5,392 NDC community health centers level clinic have been set up. The mobile application of software named the Comprehensive Primary Healthcare Non-Communicable Disease is rolled out under the program for screening and management will now be renamed as National NCD Portal. The portal enables population enumeration, risk assessment and screening of 5 communicable NDC including hypertension, diabetes and oral, breast and cervical cancer of the population aged above 30 years. Non-communicable disease in India, a study titled India Health of the Nation State the Indian State Level Disease Burden Initiative in 2017 by Indian Council of Medical Research estimated that the proportion of death due to NDC in India have increased from 37.9% to 61.8% in 2016. The four major NDCs are cardiovascular disease, cancer, chronic respiratory disease, and diabetes, which share four behavioral risk factors: unhealthy diet, lack of physical activity, and use of tobacco and alcohol. Then the next topic is, and this particular non-communicable disease increasing because of the lifestyle and the stress and the pollution. Okay, and even the food habit of the people. This need to be changed. Some physical exercises, some regulation of the food, and keeping person stress free will make it possible. Petersburg Climate Dialogue in news. The Petersburg Dialogue on Climate Change was held in Berlin from May 2nd, 3rd, 2023. More about the news. The Petersburg Climate Dialogue was hosted by Germany and United Arab Emirates, which is hosting the 28th Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Ministers from 40 countries attended the conference to discuss the way forward towards the COP28. The discussion at the event veered around global renewable targets, climate finance, and global stock tech. Summit highlights global renewable target. According to members, in order to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees centigrade, the world needs to make sharp cut in their greenhouse gas emission. They also initiated discussion around a potential global target for renewables at the next climate conference. Fossil fuel phased out production or reduce emission. Member agreed to be lesser focus on phasing out of fossil fuel emission while phasing out variable affordable zero carbon alternatives. They called for a tripling of renewable energy capacity by 2030 followed by doubling in 2040 and the address was focused on reducing fossil fuel emission on track for 100 billion climate finance. Okay. According members, developed country are on good track to deliver the 100 billion per year they had promised to mobilize by 2020 during the COP15 at Paris. Okay, so COP20 in 2009 before Paris Climate Agreement. Although this is good news, delivering the 100 billion goal in 2023 might be a little too late. The 100 billion is likely to be gross underestimation of the true need of climate finance in developing countries. A recent estimate for climate finance need at 1 trillion per year by 2030 for emerging market alone. This means that climate finance need are more than 10 times the amount that developed countries have been able to mobilize 14 years after committing to the 100 billion figure. Okay, global stock take 2023 the year for the global stock take. Global stock take is essentially a periodic review of global climate action which aims to assess whether current effort will enable us to reach the objectives set out in the Paris Agreement 2015. This is the first global stock take year since the Paris Agreement was signed in 2015 and the report has been underway for the past 2 years. It is set to be released in September 2023. The Stocktech outcomes member noted that global Stocktech outcome could focus on how climate change impact, actions and response have a bearing on the developmental priority of developing countries, including eradication of poverty. The first global Stocktech should seek to convey a message on sustainable lifestyle as well as sustainable consumption to inform the next round of nationally determined contribution and enhance international cooperation. Okay. Then come to the long question. Critically analyze the role of electoral fund in making political donation transparent and cleaning the system of political funding in India. Okay. Sir, sir, namaste. Sir, সেটা accounts ରେ ମୁଁ କହିଦେଉଛି accounts ରେ ଆପଣ ପଳେଇତେ report. Sir, ମୁଁ କହିଦେଉଛି ମନେ ପକେଇଛି. Sir, ମୁଁ କହିଦେଉଛି. Sir, Okay. So critically analyze the role of electoral bond in making political donation transparent and cleaning the system of political funding in India. An electoral bond is a financial instrument for making donation to political parties. They are money instruments like promissory note that can be bought by companies and individuals in India and donated to political parties, which can then encash these bonds. They are introduced in 2018 through an electoral bond scheme with the objective to bring transparency and cleanse the political funding system in the country. Advantages of using electoral bond: bring transparency in political funding. Certain provisions which aim at bringing transparency are: only political parties registered under Section 29A of the Representation of People Act 1951 and which secured not less than 1% of the vote polled in the last general election are eligible to receive electoral bond. Further, electoral bond shall be encashed by an eligible political party only through a bank account with an authorized bank. The donor also have to fulfill the mandatory KYC procedure at the bank and the allotted fund remain valid only for 15 days. Countering electoral corruption, the basic aim of electoral bond is to reduce rampant political corruption during the elections. It not only aims to stop political funding through unauthentic and illegal sources, but also aims to bring substantive changes to the entire electoral funding mechanism. Fight the menace of black money. The purchase is also available through a restricted number of banks and only check and digital payment are accepted. Electoral bond therefore act as a substitute for cash donation and aim to fight the menace of black money. Maintain anonymity of donors. The electoral bond scheme provides anonymity as the bond do not bear the name of donors. This becomes important to prevent harassment or attack on donors by the political opponents. Concern raised with respect to this use of electoral bond. Implications on transparency in political parties' finances. The amendment brought through the Finance Act 2017 do not require political parties to mention the name of the address of those contributing the way of electoral bond in their annual contribution report filed with an election commission. This will have a major implication on transparency in political party finance and will fundamentally alter the perception around political donation. Implying the citizens' right to know, the political parties are exempted from disclosing donations received through electoral fund. This means the voter will not know which individual, company, or organization has funded which party and to what extent. Before the introduction of electoral fund, political parties had to disclose detail of their donors who have donated more than 20,000. The change increase on the citizens' right to know and make the political parties class being more unaccountable. Uncapped corporate donation. The removal of the 7.5% cap on corporate donation provides for unaccounted and unlimited donation to political parties. RBI and the Election Commission both expressed their concern and serious reservation that these bonds would become tool for money laundering and sell companies in the name of foreign funding. Increase in political parties post electoral bond scheme. Electoral bond are being misused by the political parties and are encouraging the use of black money. In 2017, there were a total of 1,500 political parties in India. However, by 2021, the number increased to 2858. A vast majority of these parties will never contest election and may be involved in money laundering activity or may simply be using the status to turn black money into white. Lending to crony capitalism. According to report by the Association of Democratic Firms, a 93.95 total value of the bond purchased were in the denomination of 1 crore, indicating that these bonds are being purchased by corporates other than individuals. Foreign donation. Amendments to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act permitted acceptance of donation from foreign companies. This could allow unchecked foreign funding of political parties in India, which could lead to Indian policies being influenced by foreign companies. Transparency and accountability have been at the core of electoral reforms, and only free and fair election can guarantee the growth of Indian democracy. Given the concern raised with respect to electoral bond, other measures such as state funding of election, auditing of accounts of political parties, and strengthening the mandate of the election commission should be considered. Okay. So then come to the MCQs. Consider the following statement with reference to Commission for Scientific and Technical Terminology. Okay, it is a statutory body that is uh, incorrect. It is functioning under the Niti Aayog. It is incorrect. Its main objective is to evolve standard terminology, propagate its use, and distribute it widely. Three is right. Only three. That means D is the only option. Thuru Tila Palu UTF atoll was recently news. It is located in Maldives. Okay. Consider the following statement about rising and accelerating MSME performance. It is a World Bank assisted central sector scheme. The schemes aimed at improving access to market and credit to strengthen the coordination between the institutions at the national and state level. All the three are correct. With reference to 14th Petersburg Dialogue on Climate Change, which was recently held, consider the following. The Petersburg Dialogue on Climate Change held annually, which a formal dialogue is between the government. Okay, so that is correct. The climate dialogue was co-chaired by Germany and the United Kingdom. Okay, that is also correct. Okay, one and two. Sorry, both are incorrect. So because it was not by it was UAE. Okay, not United Kingdom. Okay, so both are incorrect. So neither one nor two is correct. And the following statement about Nagarhole National Park. Nagarhole Tiger Reserve, formerly known as Rajiv Gandhi Nagarhole National Park, is a wildlife reserve in Karnataka. Okay, it is in Karnataka. Okay, it is a part of the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. So it is right. Named after the river Nagarhole, which is Kannada term for serpent river, snake-like. Genu Kurbaj, Beta Kurbaj, Venias, Avaraj are the original inhabitants of the forest. So all these are right. 1, 2, 3, 4. D. The following statement, homeoglobinopathies are a group of disorders that are passed down through families in which there is abnormal production of structure of hemoglobin molecules. Right? Thalassemia, hemophilia, and sickle cell disease all come under the umbrella of this. In India, thalassemia, along with two other blood disorders, namely hemophilia and sickle cell disease, recognized as benchmark disability in the Right of Person Disability Act 2016. 1, 2, 3 are correct. Consider the following statement. Rheumatoid arthritis or RA is an autonomous and inflammatory disease, which means that your immune system attacks healthy cells in your body by mistake, causing inflammation in the affected parts of the body. RA mainly attack the joints, usually many joints at once. The tissue damage can cause long-lasting and chronic pain and arthritis, lack of balance, and deformity, mishappenings. So in this case, none of these, all are correct. So as per the answer, which are incorrect, all being correct, so answer will be none of the above are incorrect because all are correct. ISRO has launched a new introductory level on online training program called Space Science and Technology Awareness Training. Okay, so right, it is aimed at postgraduate and final year undergraduate students of physical science and technology. Right, it will be delivered by the scientists from Indian academia only. Incorrect. 1 and 2 are correct. Okay, then the Tungnath temple. Tungnath temple is in Uttarakhand. The Arab League or the League of Arab States is a regional organization in the Arab world which is located in the Northern Africa, Western Africa, and Eastern Africa and Western Africa, Asia. The Arab League was formed in Cairo in March 2045, 22nd March 45, and currently the league has 22 members. Okay, so they're all right. The league's main goal is to draw closer the relation between the member states and coordinate collaboration between them to safeguard their independence and sovereignty and to consider in a general way the affairs and interest of the Arab countries. All the three are correct. So answer will be D for this.